Fetch.ai has just launched a new coding assistant and price looks very interesting. So let's talk about all of that in today's video. Hey guys, Foxy's Trading here, back with another crypto video for you guys, and we are back talking about Fetch.ai. Now the goal for today's video is very simple. We talk about the new announcement from Fetch.ai launcher FetchCoder, and then also about price. So I'm going to talk about price, market structure, buying zones, all of that first, and then we're going to go over later on into the video if you're more interested about the news and the tech behind Fetch.ai. Stay tuned for that or skip ahead. So looking at CoinMarketCap before I pull up the chart, we are pretty much down red across the board. Down in price, down in market cap, down in volume. 85% bullish on the community sentiment list and on a bunch of big exchanges, pretty much on all of the big ones. So when we pull up the chart, what has happened? Well, let's do a little refresher for anybody that is new, right? So we had this liquidity pool right over here. Fetch swept that liquidity pool, consolidated a little bit, and then broke out, right? And you can expect that after a liquidity sweep because we know that there's a bunch of buy orders in this area. And that means a lot of people's orders will get triggered and price will shoot up exactly like it did here. Okay, so we shot up, we broke structure, right? Because we were in a bearish trend, highs, lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Trending channel to the downside. And now you can very, very clearly see we broke out of that, right? We have a new higher high formed from here, starting to form a bullish trend. Now, were we able to form a higher high from this area? No, we were not, right? We formed a lower high, but it is almost equal high, so it's nothing too crazy. Yes, I would have preferred if we did form a high here, and then we got the retracement and it was a little bit like this, but we have to adapt to the market. So now what is Fetch.ai doing? Well, very simply, it is holding within this daily fair value gap between 27 cents and 28 cents. So we just want to see price hold, not close below, and just continue pushing up and making higher highs. We have been testing it for the last couple of days, so it looks like there is a lot of buying pressure in this area because they do not want to close below. If we do close it below, we are going to then start looking for newer zones, right? There's this zone, maybe it goes back into this fair value gap that we have, right? So it would be not ideal because then we are unsure of where price would like to go. However, if we do close below, we could look for something which is called a protected weekly low. So this is your protected weekly low. On last week's candle, you had your high and you had your low. And the reason I like this protected weekly low is because it is within a fair value gap, right? So right in here, we have this fair value gap. So my thinking is even if we do close below, price is going to go into this area, sweep liquidity, test the fair value gap, and then just very simply give us the push to the upside. So it's not the worst thing in the world, right? So that could be your buying opportunity, and buying opportunity could be right now also. I would say you can do two things. One, you can wait for a higher high to be formed, right? So we can establish that we are still forming a bullish trend. And then you can just simply wait for that retest. And when we retest, let's just say 28 cents, that is when you buy up. But that is only if we formed a higher high. Or you can wait for your second buying opportunity. You can draw out your daily fair value gap right over here, and you can wait for a liquidity sweep and then that push to the upside. Now, you can either buy up at the liquidity sweep if the momentum is not insanely strong. I always talk about this, and I'm always going to talk about it because that's where a lot of people mess up, right? They'll see price slam right through, almost be closing below, and they'll say, oh my gosh, we swept liquidity. I'm so excited. I think I'm going to buy. No. That is not what I am saying. I am saying only buy here if we get a sweep of liquidity that is not too aggressive and then we get a consolidation, right? Because if we just slam right through, we are closing below and we are going back down to this zone. So I do like the liquidity sweep. I do not expect us to go back into, let's just say, 20 cents. So my ideal buying zone probably would be here between, let's just say, 26 cents and 24 cents. I think that is a good buying opportunity for Fetch.ai. And then very simply, we're just going to have to follow the trend to the upside, right? We're going to be looking for a higher high from this area and a higher high from this area, and then price will follow. Now, where could price be halted off by a little bit? Once we are in altcoin season, once the ball gets moving, and once we are forming a pattern as such. Well, I think we are going to be halted off right in this area between 48 cents and 42 cents. As you can see, right, in the past, even with very strong buying pressure, we got to this area and instantly we pushed back down, telling us that there is a lot of selling pressure in this area. But that also means a closure above this area would indicate that we want to push higher, right? And then we're going to start looking for the highs on the weekly time frames. We got this high, we got this high, and so on and so on and so on. Now, do I think Fetch.ai can hit $1 going into altcoin season? Absolutely. Absolutely, I can. And now I'm not talking about the scandal. I'm not talking about what happened with Ocean AI. I am just talking about pure market structure. I understand there's a lot of people that don't like the project anymore. There's a lot of people that lost money on the project. I totally understand it. But I'm here to present how market is looking. And if you just take a look at market, $1 is not far away at all. Not at all, right? And from, let's just say, the liquidity sweep up to here, that is 300%. And that is not far at all. Compared to what Fetch.ai was, right, almost at $3.50, we have a lot of room to go up to. What looks more like a potential target is this wick right over here. I think you guys can agree, right? This high is sticking out like a sore thumb. It swept this high, it swept this high, and what's very interesting is that it is within this daily fair value gap right over here, right? So you can see that this is going to be a zone that price targets in the future. Is it going to come in the next couple of weeks? No. Is it going to take a couple months to get there? Most likely, yes. But I do think the possibilities to go up is very strong, especially if Fetch.ai do their best to bring back the community, bring back the positivity, bring back trust and reliability in the project. So now let's transfer over to the news about what is happening there. Market structure is done. You guys know my buying zones. You guys know what I am looking for in the market. So when we look at the news, right? Fetch.ai launches FetchCoder V2, the AI coding assistant purpose built for AI agents. Now, we're not going to break down this entire article. It is quite long. We are just going to do a very quick TLDR about what this all means, okay? So basically the key message to summarize all of this is that FetchCoder V2 isn't just a quote unquote write code faster program. It's build autonomous agents, right? Safety, and to test those agents properly, and also deploy them into an ecosystem that already has agents. So they are basically doing an upgrade, right? Now, why agent development is different? Why is this different from the past, from other upgrades? Well, you have traditional apps, right? You click an app, the app responds, it does the task that you want it to. Well, this is a little bit different because we are working with these agents, right? These autonomous agents. And basically these agents, they first observe, then they decide, then they act, then they learn based off that decision and that action, and then they coordinate with other agents. And it might do this 24/7, right? Across multiple systems without any human watching over them, and they are going to learn and continuously grow. Now, this might be a little bit scary for some people, right? Thinking about AI taking over and all of those conspiracy ideas. But if you just look at it from a financial standpoint and from a standpoint of what they can do for efficiency, it is very good if they are able to perfect it, because this is going to be a very difficult thing to perfect, right? Multi-agent orchestration, it's difficult. The agents, they have to coordinate like a team. And I know from experience, and you guys probably also know, sometimes you see these AI responses to a question and it's absurd. It's absurd what they are saying. So there's still a lot of growth on the table. There is the safety factor, right? There's the cross-interrogation factor. There is many things that they still need to do to really perfect it. But this is a step in the right direction. Now, we could go way into depth on this. If that is something you guys want me to do, please let me know, okay? Basically, just remember the main points. Speed, this is about increasing speed, right? Concept to deploy an agent faster. Reliability, testing plus guardrails, those are gonna increase reliability. They're gonna not have disasters on the platform. And then ecosystem growth being the last third main important point, because making an agent building more accessible gives more developers, gives more agents, gives more usage of Fetch.ai. And that is basically the summary of what they are doing here. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, this breakdown, the market analysis, all of that. If you did, leave a like, comment, hit that subscriber button. It really does mean a lot to me. Make sure you guys do your own research because I'm not a financial advisor, and I'll see everybody in the next video.